Bill Aublin threw down the gauntlet to the rest of the Speed GT competitors with his dominating double win at Lime Rock Park. But as the saying goes, consistency wins championships. Randy Pope sits atop the standings after 4 rounds. The Audi RS6 has the power to be a factor here at Road Atlanta. Don't forget about the grunt, Phil McClury's Corvette. But can anything stop the streaking BMW of Billy Aublin? We'll find out next on Speed. After a hectic doubleheader at Lime Rock Park, the guys in the Speed World Challenge GT Championship have had a bit of a break, but it's time to go racing again. Hello, I'm Lee Diffie, joined by Johnny O'Connell and Brian Till, and welcome to Road Atlanta here in Georgia. Well, since Lime Rock Park, there's been much discussion about who has gained weight, who has lost weight. And we're not talking about the drivers, we're talking about the cars.
We were kind of, I guess, surprised at the adjustment made to us, particularly we're, the third place running car, and nothing was done to the top 2 cars to make up for that.
It is not a good idea to penalize a car after 1 race or even 2 races. When a team's doing a great job, they shouldn't necessarily be penalized immediately until it's quite clear that a car has an unfair advantage.
The biggest thing they did was they helped the Porsche out. I mean, it's a 200-pound weight swing from the Porsche to us now, and Porsche already had the fastest car. So, I don't think we're going to win this race, but we're not going to give up. I mean, we're going to fight hard every lap, all 4 BMWs, and, hopefully force them into making a mistake.
And to elaborate on exactly what has transpired since Lime Rock, the Corvettes have received an extra 100 pounds. The Porsches have lost 100 pounds. They're 100 pounds lighter. And the Saleen, namely the car that John Young races, he's not here today, has had a air restrictor change. Someone who doesn't really care about that, though, is Randy Popes.
Randy Popes will start on the front row for the 5th time this season, the only driver in the series to start on the front row in every event, and the only driver in the series to finish on the podium in every event. And even though he's looking for his first win, his remarkable consistency in his champion Audi RS6 has kept him in the championship points lead. His teammate, defending champion Michael Galati, has not been as fortunate.
Yeah, it's been a very, I think in my racing career, this is, we gotta say, it's gotta be the toughest season I ever had, really, starting. But, I'm pretty optimistic. I think we can turn around, down the road over here. This week, we just, like I said, the S4 will perform well over here. We can get a top 10 finish and then move on to the RS6.
You heard Michael Galati talk about the S4. He damaged the RS6 champion Audi in testing at VIR. He was not able to make it here. He will run the S4, last year's car, and that car is considerably slower down the straightaways. He's going to have his work cut out for him in these drying conditions. Lee?
And speaking of champion racing, at Lime Rock Park, they protested that this BMW of Bill Aublin and Hans Stuck ran illegal-sized rear tyres. Nothing came of the protest, and Mitch Wright of SCCA tells us more.
Was the situation handled properly at the racetrack? It should have been handled differently. Obviously we've learned a lesson from it. We've made the corrections within the technical regulations. From that event on, we've solved the problem, and obviously we're sorry it happened, and obviously apologize to all the parties involved, because it could have been handled a little differently.
We're in Georgia, so naturally things are hot. And after this short break, we'll crank it up. The Speed GT Championship, round 5, is on the other side of this. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by BMW. Visit your local BMW centre for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And speaking of BMW, as we welcome you back to Road Atlanta, yes, he has done it again. Bill Aublin and his BMW M3 starts from pole position for the 2nd time in season 2003. Outside the front row, and yet another front row start belongs to Randy Popes and his Audi RS6. Back to row 2, Nick Johnson starts from 3rd alongside Hans Stuck. That's Another strong start from Hans. Michael Gallardi in the S4 alongside Boris Said, who didn't start the last race, nor did Mike Fitzgerald. So they're happy just to be on the grid. Mike Culver in only his second start at Road Atlanta, and Thomas Oates the best of the rookies. Now, incidentally, just to update you on something that's just happened, Nick Jonsson will start from the rear of the grid after Tech, and there was some technicality with his rear wing location. So he has been moved from third all the way to the back of the pack.
But with a field like this and Nick as fast as he was running, he's got every opportunity, especially if he gets a full course caution, to make his way back up to the front and challenge for a win.
From the Audi onboard with Michael Gallardi, we go to our second one inside the cockpit with the legendary Austrian racer Hans Stuck in the BMW Team PTG M3. His best grid position of the year. We see green at the back of the grid. We are set to go round 5. After that very busy doubleheader at Lime Rock, just the single race here at Road Atlanta. Aublin on the left of your screen, but watch that Audi, it just launches. Michael Culver jumped out of line, pretty swift as well.
Yeah, and look at Gallardi. Gallardi had a really bad start. Remember, that's last year's car, so you don't know what kind of conditions it's in. But the beautiful thing, Randy Popes, once again, the whole shot. I mean, when you have that Audi Quattro, you know, you start out, first corner, you're already 6-7 car lengths in the lead. That's a big advantage.
We ride with Hans Stuck on the opening lap, and look at that. Look at the lead that Randy Popes has opened up so early over Bill Aublin. Hans Stuck, Boris Said's in there. Mike Culver made a great start, and Fitzgerald's right behind him.
He certainly did. You know, both of the Porsches got really good starts, and, you know, again, Culver did a great job. But up front, Randy Popes. Now, remember, the tendency of this Audi is to run quick for a few laps, but they're having a hard time with the front tires, as we see Phil McClure making a move on Rob Fellows there. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not that is the same trend that continues on here at Road Atlanta.
Now, as we said at the top of the show, these Porsches are now lighter. Will that come into play? Will it be their advantage this time round? We will find out. Early days yet. Mike Fitzgerald already makes a move on Culver.
Again, Fitzgerald's got a lot of experience running this racetrack. He knows how to get around it quickly, and he knows his cars real well. So it's going to be, you know, he's someone that we're going to watch as we see McClure taking a peek to the inside and making that move stick.
And one thing's for sure, Phil McClure, 2-time race winner this year, is not pleased about these weight penalties, and he will be driving the wheels off that Corvette today. Justin Marks already up into the thick of it. He's all over the back, gets a little off the track as well, coming through 12. He's right up with Rob Fellows.
And it looked like Fellows was smoking a little bit there, or he might have locked the tire, but, you know, Rob Fellows, again, remember, he's coming out of retirement, so to speak. He hasn't raced for a while, and each race, he's getting stronger, and it's kind of nice to see.
Not a positive start for Michael Gallardi in the S4. He's being forced to race this car after a testing crash, and he seems to be running a little slower than what he should be.
You know what? You feel so bad for Mike. I mean, it's like he, you know, crossed paths with a black cat and then walked underneath a ladder and broke a mirror. I mean, he's just had about the worst season he could possibly have, and, you know, the car does not sound that good. I'm just guessing he has some sort of mechanical problem. Because, you know, to have qualified fourth and now, you know, being overtaken by just about everyone, there's something going wrong there.
Well, he's back in 18th at the moment, make that perhaps 19th now. It has again been a very frustrating weekend for Michael Gallardi. How many more times will we say that? With more on it, here's Brian Till.
Well, it looks like the bad luck is continuing for Michael Gallardi and his champion Audi team. We saw Randy Popes get a great start, and one of the benefits of all-wheel drive is that it launches you off the line. Well, Michael Gallardi did not get quite as good a launch in his S4, and the reason? They think he's lost a CV joint in the rear. The car has 55% of its drive power to the front tires, but it's all a matter of whether the viscous coupling in the back, where everything bolts together, how long fluid stays in it, and how long that Audi S4 will stay together. The bad luck continues for Michael Gallardi.
You just have to feel very sorry for the Italian, don't you? It has been such a tough year. Exciting coming into it with these brand new cars, the RS6s. Of course, he's not running in his today. There is the sole RS6, Randy Popes. Championship leader, race leader, but yet to win a race in the 2003 Speed GT Championship.
And he's looking really strong, you know, getting back to Gallardi. All he needs is that one race without a problem. It's going to get his confidence, everything right back in momentum as we watch Fitzgerald here. He's having a great run. It looks like he's running down Stuck and Billy, and right now I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the fastest car on the racetrack, which in a way kind of falls back to what Boris said before the race, that you know, maybe that 100 pounds you took off of Porsche might have been a little bit too much. As this race goes on, we're going to find out.
And it's pretty interesting with these new weight, the weight distribution, the weight penalties, whatever you want to call it. Within the 3R Racing team, you've got the Corvette of Phil McClure, but you've got some Porsches, and of course within that team is Mike Fitzgerald, so it may disadvantage one, it's going to advantage the other. We'll see how that plays out at the end of today's race, but at the moment this twin turbo V8 is absolutely flying. Randy Pobst enjoying a clear track ahead at his local track. And Hans Stuck, after starting his best grid position, he's hot on the charge as well. Stay with us. It's not often you get to express your opinion on live national television, but you can each and every Friday night with Dave Despain and Wind Tunnel. Each Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern. Give Dave a call and tell him what's on your mind. Perhaps talk about the Speed GT Championship. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Randy Pobst continues to lead and lead well from the BMW team PTG Machines, and Mike Fitzgerald hot in pursuit in his Porsche.
You know, he's doing a super job, and as we talk about the weight penalties or additions, whatever you want to call it, to all these cars, it's not earlier in the race that you're going to see it pay off. It's going to be late in the race when the tires are getting tired and their brakes are getting hot. You know, so right now, as we see Fitzgerald running through the pack, it's definitely a little bit of that weight to his advantage.
Pobst, how long will he stay there? Let's take a look at a replay of the start. Right of screen, Pobst just launches away. Great comparison there of the two Audis, or perhaps that's where Galati had his problem.
Yeah, as we go on board with him right now, you can just see something just not right. I mean, it gets moving, and Mike immediately knows off the bat he's got a problem, and then it's going to be lip it home and see whether or not he can make that car last.
Well, we've seen it many times before. The Audi streak away at the beginning, but then it comes back to the field, and we're seeing it again. Bill Aublin is right with Randy Pobst now.
You know, and watching Randy, I mean, he's doing a beautiful job. He's given everything that Audi can take, but, you know, those BMWs are tough.
Time to go back to the pits.
Mike Fitzgerald is running well. He's moved from his 6th place starting position up to 4th. I talked to Will Moody, his crew chief. He said they had a small problem in qualifying in the wet. He spun and he got a little cautious, and that's why he qualified a little bit further back. That car had been fast. As a matter of fact, it was fastest in one of the practice sessions, so look for him to make a charge. And remember, too, he's lighter this weekend. They've taken weight off of that Porsche.
And don't forget, too, that Mike got tangled up in a few problems at Lime Rock Park. Both he and Boris said didn't even start the second leg of that doubleheader weekend, so he's keen to make amends for that.
Well, he is, and you know, when you talk about Will Moody, the crew chief on that Porsche, again, he's a guy that's got his history in Trans Am, winning championships there, so he knows sports car racing. If you ever see him smile, take a picture, because you don't see that happen very often. But he does a good race car, and right now it's showing for Fitzgerald.
On board with Hans Stuck. The last time BMW Team PTG were here at Road Atlanta was a couple of years ago when they won the GT class at the Petit Le Mans, the 1,000-mile enduro here at Road Atlanta. They're back now, but part of the SCCA Speed World Challenge, and well placed. Look at our top 4, how tight they are. Pobst, Aublin, Stuck. Here comes Mike Fitzgerald thinking about a move on Hans Stuck, and Boris said, running in a race all by himself at the moment, and back to Phil McClure and Mike Culver and Justin Marks.
Oh, look at Stuck taking a look at the inside of Billy. You gotta like that. There's a lot of fighting, Hans left. You know what, and the fact that Hans is taking a peek tells me that he's thinking he's stronger than Billy, and it's just a matter of time before he gets by.
He's getting plenty of heat too from Mike Fitzgerald as they go through turn 1. Another lap down. And every time you talk to Hans Stuck, he's loving this World Challenge racing.
You know, he's just, you know, he's like so many guys. You know, you just can't get racing out of your blood. He loves it. He loves being around it, the competitiveness of it. And like so many sports car guys, I guess he thinks, hey, as long as I'm competitive and I'm capable of winning races, which he is, I'm going to keep doing it. And so, you know, hats off to Stuck. But you know what, when we're watching this, one thing you want to pay attention to, Randy Popes, who's leading right now, he knows he's got horsepower on those BMWs. He's got it on just about everyone, because when he finishes a corner going in the straightaway, he watches that gap appear. And so he's going to be driving to take the most advantage of that and watch where his competitors, the BMWs, are strong. And so it's going to be interesting, the chess game that's going to be taking place here.
Henry Gilbert, Thomas Oates, and John Groom battling it out. Must make mention of Nick Jonsson too, after getting put to the back of the grid for that. Oh, look at this. Fitzgerald on the inside of Hans Stuck, and Stuck gets all out of shape.
He brought it in as deep as he could. Good control, great pass by Fitzgerald, but you know, again, Stuck's not out of this fight. But again, we had seen Fitzgerald the lap before taking a peek and kind of testing the waters. That time he made it stick.
Just wanted to say that Jonsson had made up substantial ground from 23rd to 12th in that 5th BMW PTG machine.
Guys, I just spoke with Tom Milner, the principal behind the PTG's BMW team. I asked him, in these changing weather conditions, were you able to get a dry setup on the car, or did you have to go with a compromise? He said, no, we're all dry. We rolled the dice. We thought it was going to dry out. Looks like that bet may pay off as they continue to chase that Audi of Randy Popes.
And they do just that. Popes, Oberlin, Fitzgerald, Stuck, top 4. They're all stuck together, but the big mover in this pack is the Porsche of Mike Fitzgerald for first Interstate Inns 3R Racing. He started in 6th position. He now runs a hot 3rd.
You know, he's looking really strong, so much so that you see Billy Oberlin changing his line a little bit, protecting that inside, and where I think Billy'd much rather be focusing on Randy Popes. Right now, he's got his mirrors full of Fitzgerald.
Plenty of pressure on in the top 3. The view from Jim Rathman's Corvette. There'll be plenty more on the other side of this break. From Road Atlanta, round 5 of the Speed GT Championship continues.
Only on Speed.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We continue, and whilst we're away, Mike Fitzgerald has put a move on Bill Oberlin. The Porsche driver is up to 2nd.
And looking really strong. I mean, that Porsche is just doing everything well today, and it's just a matter of time, in my mind, before he runs down Randy Popes.
Riding with Stuck. Oberlin's pushing it.
He's, you know, he's doing everything he can, using all the racetrack, going in, going out of the corners, and you know, again, there's a lot of fight in these guys. None of these guys wants to give up so early in the race.
Oh, and we've lost our one of our front-running Porsche drivers, Mike Culver, is off the circuit.
You know, that's real bad luck for Michael. You know, again, remember, he went off at Lime Rock, for which I need to apologize, because at Lime Rock I actually gave credit of ownership for Lime Rock to Michael, and actually Michael is a partial owner of the Skip Barber Racing School Enterprises, but not Lime Rock itself. And so my bad on that, Michael, and bad luck to you again today as we see Rathman here with a problem.
Looks like Jim is done for the day. Major problems with the Corvette. He's still going though, but for how much longer? He spins.
That's in his own oil too, I would think. You know, I mean, that car did not sound healthy. He's got a serious problem. The way that turned around, with all that smoke, actually looked like there's a little bit of fire underneath there.
Look at this, we've got a race for the lead now. Randy Popes is perhaps under the biggest pressure he has been under. Mike Fitzgerald from 6th to 2nd. There's just one guy left on his list as he pushes the Audi RS6 driver as hard as he can. Remember that Randy Popes is still in search of his first Speed GT victory in 2003. He has got a very tough fight on his hands now in Mike Fitzgerald. With an update on the Audi situation, Brian Till.
I just spoke with Kevin Wheeler, who's the crew chief on Randy Pope's Audi RS6. I asked him how long they could run the pace with those tires. You got to remember that one of the things we've seen all year long in the Audi is it's a big, heavy car, and even though they're fast in the beginning, it seems to really be hard on the tires. Randy has already called in, said he's starting to pick up a push. That's one of the reasons that the Porsche of Mike Fitzgerald has begun to catch him. I asked him how long they could run. He said, we're hoping the guys behind fight enough that it gives us a lead. I'm not sure that's going to happen. That that Audi, it just needs bigger tires. They really would like to put a 305 on it, but they don't make it. The next size up would be a 335. They'd have to put fender flares on it, and that is against the rules.
We've seen it once, now we see it twice. Jim Rathman has spun again as our leaders come down upon him. He's trying desperately to get back to the pits, and he's almost there, but he is stranded in turn 10.
You know, he's got some sort of mechanical problem because the way he spun in turn 7 and the way he's facing the wrong direction right now kind of lets you know that, combined with the smoke in the cockpit. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. He looks like he's waving for corner workers. Hopefully they'll give him a little help pushing that thing out of there, because the last thing you want is to see a full course caution just because of something like that.
Well, like I said, that's part 2. Let's take a look at the replay of part 1 because he spun earlier.
Well, this is going into turn 7, and the way that car turns backwards, it really, and you see some smoke there, that doesn't look like tire smoke. I mean, I can't help but think that's some sort of mechanical, and yeah, of course, there you see there's a fire. He's got some sort of fluid that he's dropping. He spins in his own fluid. Now, of course, he's driven this car down the whole long straightaway and through that last corner, so he's made the whole racetrack a lot more slippery, and it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the other competitors.
Again, more great work by the corner workers, and thankfully, Jim Rathman is safe. He's out of harm's way and is okay. Meanwhile, we get back to it, and Randy Popes continues to lead and handle this pressure being dished out by Mike Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald started the season on a high at Sebring with a fine second behind Phil McClure, but this is the best showing we've seen since then.
Yeah, and Randy Popes has opened out a little bit of gap. What he's got to remember is that Audi's strong in a straight line, so he doesn't have to go that fast through the corners, just down the straights.
The troublesome day continues for fellow Audi driver Michael Gallardi, the 5 times World Challenge champion. We'll have more from Georgia right after this. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, and that pressure is intensifying. Champion Audi have put so much into this car, and Audi Sport North America, could this be their day for the win? Here's an earlier incident. Nick Johnson and Tim Weens. Whoa, whoa. And Rob Fellows in that as well. That was the battle for 10th. And all 3 cars copped a pretty decent hit. Back at the front, though, Fitzgerald continues the chase. Randy Popes gets a little wide. Let's find out more about Tim Weens.
Well, Tim Weens, your 3R Racing group had a pretty good performance going all weekend long, but obviously something caught you out, and I noticed that Rob Fellows is in too with some damage.
Well, I followed Johnson through a turn in 6, passing Fellows, and coming up to the short turn on 7, Fellows and I were side by side. He kind of turned into me, which accelerated me into Johnson. And so the 3 of us were banging around there, and I think all 3 of us, unfortunately, had to leave the race.
How are the track conditions right now? We heard a track, maybe a lot of oil on the track down in 7?
Yeah, actually there is oil in the track because I think it was Rathman blew an engine. And but for the most part, the track's good condition. There's a couple of spots right around 7, but it's in great condition after the rain.
You're riding with Hans Stuck, 4th place. We've got a new race leader. It is the 3R Racing Porsche of Mike Fitzgerald, then the RS6 Audi of Randy Popes, the BMW of Bill Oberlin, then Hans Stuck. Top 4, and it's been these 4 for quite some time now. We're getting close to the 10 laps to go mark here at Road Atlanta. And Hans Stuck had his best grid position of the year. Could he possibly come up with his best result of the year? That was Lime Rock when he finished 3rd. Can he go one better today? He's got some work to do, but it is achievable.
You know, it's a shame for Randy because what we talked about Rathman and dropping fluids right there, that's probably what caught Randy out going on that long straightaway. He got into that fluid, he had to use a couple extra feet of racetrack, and that's all that the Porsche needed to get by him. So, again, when we saw Rathman and the fact that he probably ran down that whole long straightaway means there's not, oh man, look at all the dirt that's on Fitzgerald's windshield. I'm sure he's not enjoying that a whole lot. Red Georgia clay there. That's actually, you know what, that'd be from Randy Popes exactly. Dropping his wheels. So, again, although the racetrack on the majority might have good grip, that one corner and the fluids that Fitzgerald dropped there, or excuse me, Rathman dropped there, cost Randy Popes that lead.
3 different manufacturers in the top 3 positions. all German marques, Porsche, Audi, BMW. It's a big fight amongst the Euro giants. And we could see yet another new winner in the Speed GT Championship this year. If Mike Fitzgerald continues to go the way he is, he has pulled away from Randy Post.
You know, he's looking really good. And before I went to the previous break, I said all Randy has to do is go fast down the straightaways and not look at the corners. As you see Oberlin make a nice pass on Randy there. Randy with the horsepower, you don't have to run that fast in the corners because it's going to be hard to pass. You can take a defensive line and stuff. As long as Randy could come out of this corner and be faster than anyone else down that straightaway, it's going to be real hard to get by that Audi.
What do you make of this, the Audi RS6? We talk a lot about its brutal speed, the all-wheel drive, its launch off the line. But is this a fatal flaw that we always see it dropping back mid-race as he regains second, and a strong effort there to get past Oberlin? But is this car ever going to be run consistently in the lead all the way through the race? Oberlin now repays the favor, comes back on the inside.
Good job by Bill again. You know what? When you talk to Randy or you talk to Mike about their car, they feel like they've got just too much weight. As you see that horsepower taking advantage of. Beautiful move by Randy coming back underneath Billy there. Again, showing the horsepower advantage that they have. Watch Billy try to make a move coming up to the inside because that Audi right now is not getting through the corners as well. It's a new car to him though, so I think as the series goes on and the season goes on, they're going to make that Audi stronger and better and work to the way both Mike and Randy wanted to.
Well, you heard Brian Till say earlier, it is a bit of a problem for them with the smaller tyres. They tend to drive the tyres off the car. Randy's driving the wheels off it. He's doing a wonderful job at the moment. Stay with us. Talk it, baby. Round 5 of the Speed GT Championship continues here at Road Atlanta. You're looking at 2nd, 3rd and 4th, Randy Post, Bill Oberlin and Hans Stuck battling it out, and on the inside, Oberlin on Post. So these guys are going blow for blow.
Beautiful move by Bill, and that's what he had to do. He had to stick him before that straightaway to try to kill Randy's momentum coming out. Whether or not he's going to be able to hold it off. Oh, look at that, and Stuck's kind of pinning him in. He's helping Billy out.
They are ganging up, but look at the Audi respond.
Ooh, that was pretty close there with Randy moving over on Billy. Oh, but Billy right back to the inside. Beautiful. Stuck following him.
Wow, that's good team driving, isn't it? Hans Stuck saw the way through.
A BMW snooker right there. I really like that. You know, Hans taking advantage of it. Randy, oh my goodness, using everything he possibly can.
Up on 2 wheels, Randy Post. He's getting beaten up by the PTG BMWs. Now let's see if the Audi driver can respond.
You know, it's going to be very difficult for him because right now that Audi is not handling as well as those BMWs. I think he's used up his tires, his advantage being horsepower. He can use down the straightaways, but right now where they're going through turn 3, down through the S's, you're going to see these BMWs just open up more of a gap.
So it's the Porsche of Mike Fitzgerald, the BMW of Bill Oberlin, the BMW of Hans Stuck, then the Audi of Randy Post. Here's the race leader. And it has been some 3 years since Mike Fitzgerald has won a Speed World Challenge race. Can he break that drought today with that clay splattered windshield? And when you're out in front, I guess you can just look through that stuff.
Yeah, well, and he knows he's strong. I mean, I got to tell you, when they heard it come down that, you know, the Corvettes were going to get 100 pounds and they were going to lose 100 pounds, and then, you know, the one car that we've not seen today, which was that Celine, which was a rocket ship, they added 12%. You know, boy, I almost wish I knew where all this stuff came from, but you knew Fitzgerald was smiling because that feeds right to what he needs, and he's showing it today. That advantage is allowing him to run at the front, and as the race goes longer, you know, with him being out front, being lighter means he's easier on his tires, he's easier on his brakes.
Riding with Boris Said, who sits 5th and just feels that this weekend he's just a touch off, not quite got the ideal setup. Here you're seeing Adel El Sayed finally gets back up and running.
It's a beautiful Dodge Viper.
And not too much harm done to the Viper. He's able to continue.
Well, you might have noticed on the shot there, you know, at what they've done here at Road Atlanta, it used to be if you made a mistake going into 3 and went off on the left, you went through all this grass and it was got a little bit dicey. They've actually added a bunch of pavement there to make it safer for the motorcycle racers, so that it you know, at the same time works that for the cars, that if you fall off, you got a little bit more asphalt to work with, and they've made it safer.
And this is an incredible track to watch motorcycle racing at, that's for sure. Time for another pit update. Here's Brian Till.
Well, I just spoke with Dax Robb, who's the crew chief on Phil McClure's car. McClure had been fast in practice, dry practice sessions here at Road Atlanta. The one thing he didn't like, nor his Corvette, was the wet. He qualified 13th. He's back up to 6th. But remember, they went to a different transmission on that car. They went to a standard transmission, one with the standard gear ratios from Chevrolet in it, in order to save the 100-pound weight penalty. So I think that's hurting him. He's having to shift a few more times a lap, and the top gear is not what he needs for the long straightaway. Michael Galati, he still soldiers on with his problems. He radioed into the guys and said, when I get on the gas, the car wants to turn left. I sure wish it wanted to turn right.
That was beautiful. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It's him trying to get the power down, and it was having none of it. So bad luck for Mike, but he is soldiering on.
Race leader is Mike Fitzgerald. It's all looking good for him. We'll have plenty more after this break. The action continues in the Speed GT Championship here at Road Atlanta. We're into the latter half of this one, part of the SCCA Speed World Challenge, and Mike Fitzgerald continues to lead the way from the two BMW Team PTG M3s and Randy Pope's Audi RS6. And Hans Stuck, the veteran road racer, the sports car legend, is having the best run of the year.
You know, he is just working this car. Did you watch him coming down the S's when he went by the Viper of Al Sayed? I mean, these guys are using everything on this racetrack and having a brilliant battle.
How will this, I'm so intrigued to see how this will play out as we take a look at a replay of this, some debris on the track, and Thomas Oates collects it right in front of Justin Marks, but didn't contact Justin, and no harm done there.
Well, you know, that was a dangerous situation. I don't know whether, you know, you couldn't see far enough up the track to see whether or not they had a debris flag out, but you know, my assumption would be that they didn't, because those guys were coming pretty darn close to that.
Quick shot there of Boris Said. He maintains his 5th position, and I'm sure he's still on cloud 9 at the moment after his first ever Winston Cup pole position at Infineon Raceway.
You know, and he did such a great job there. And again, you know, when you look at Boris, you're looking at last year's Trans Am champion, a guy that wins in Trans Am races. And I can't help but wonder, you know, okay, I just can't think that all these PTG cars right now are the same, because I mean, he should be right there with Hans and Billy. I mean, there's, you know, they're all on that same level of driver, that there shouldn't be a difference. And you know, since the start of the season, it seems like Boris has run just a tick slower than the other guys, and so sooner or later we're gonna have to find out what the skinny is in.
Michael Galati and Don Campbell battling it out, and you can just, oh, it must be so frustrating for Michael Galati. He's thinking, what am I doing back here? I should be in my RS6, I should be up the front. If you've joined us late, incidentally, he's in the S4 from last year because of a testing accident. They just were pressed for time to get the RS6 ready for this race meeting, but it will be back at the next round of the GT Championship at Infineon Raceway.
You know, there is some good news for Mike, and I got this from Randy. You know, when you have teammates, sometimes you get your own prize money. Some teams, they make the drivers share the prize money. So luckily for Mike, they are sharing prize money. So even though he's having a lousy season, Randy's having a good season, so he's getting a cut of all Randy's prize money. So it's not all bad news for Mike.
That's what teamwork's called,
well,
isn't it?
You know, I'm sure he'd rather be the other way, but you know, better that than nothing.
As we see Campbell come back, just to mention another competitor we will see back at Sears Point is John Young and that mighty Saline. With those the amendments to the air restrictors, we'll see what effect that has on the green and blue, white, green and blue machine.
And that car is a rocket ship. I mean, that car, and you know what? He's also been doing an awesome job driving it. And that's one of the areas where on this real stuff you have a hard time, because you know what? Guys work hard to make their cars better, and then just because they make it better and and find an advantage. Boy, you know what? I think mid-season it's difficult to make those changes. You look at Hans there, he got a good run off. That might be enough to take advantage of Billy going down the straightaway.
Hans Stuck is right with his team driver, Bill Auberlen, now set to make a move, heading towards turn 10. Will it be this time for the veteran Austrian racer as he pulls out of the draft and comes up alongside Bill Auberlen? This is great stuff from the veteran.
Beautiful.
And makes that move stick. Brian Till, what do you have for us?
Well, Bill Auberlen's day has started good and it's gone to bad because they think that he's got a tire that's cut down. They're not sure which one it is, but he will have to bring that car in and get new rubber put on it, and that will throw away any hopes for a victory here at Road Atlanta.
And that makes sense as he drops 2 positions very quickly. And that's tough luck for the man who just clobbered them at Lime Rock Park. That's stunning. Double victory in the doubleheader weekend up there in Connecticut.
He was awesome there. He put on a definite driving clinic, and you know, he did a super job. One of the things that some of the other cars are getting, and certainly, you know, we have it in the ALMS cars and in the cars that I'm driving right now, is you have tire pressure sensors in the car, so you can tell when you actually do have a tire going down. I don't know whether the BMW has it. If it does, that's a huge advantage.
Closing stages of round 5 of the Speed GT Championship. Fitzgerald is poised for his first win in 3 years. Will he get it? We'll find out.
In order today.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Lee Diffie with Johnny O'Connell and Brian Till in pit lane. You're looking at race leader Mike Fitzgerald in the first Interstate Inns 3R Racing Porsche, and there is plenty of track behind him. There is no pressure at all to the now second place Hans Stuck. Randy Pope's right with him, and that problem for Bill Auberlen with the tire going down, frustrating for him.
Extremely frustrating. You know, that's one of those things you can't control, and you know that when the second you pull into pit lane, your points, you know, leading the points championship is just going right to nowhere, and it is bad luck for him, but good luck for all the competitors. You know, right now Hans is really putting on one of his best races of the year, but he also had a really strong run at Sebring, if you remember back to that, going from the back and I think finishing 4th. So he's looking good, and you see really off the pace now.
Boris said whips on by his teammate. And again, PTG running 5 BMWs here this weekend. We've just seen a brief glimpse a couple of times of Justin Marks and Nick Johnson. PTG actually purchased the McMillan Motorsport M3, and they've put Nick Johnson in that for this weekend. He is an ex-PTG driver back in the ALMS days, so familiar territory there for him. And we'll find out if Johnson will continue with the team for the remainder of the season. I'll tell you more about that at the next race at Infineon Raceway. But what a day for Mike Fitzgerald. Started 6th, up in the lead now and doing it comfortably, and is well on his way to become our 3rd different winner this year. 2 wins to Phil McClure, 2 wins to Bill Auberlen, and naturally 2 wins to Corvette, 2 to BMW, and about to be win number 1 for Porsche in 2003.
You know, again, one of the coolest things about this type of racing is different manufacturer involvement, and it is a really good place for manufacturers to showcase, you know, what their hot rods can do. And you know, the fact that we've had BMW win, that we've had Corvette win, and it looks like, you know, that we're going to have a Porsche win today as we look at Billy Auberlen with that, looks like that left rear tire, boy. I tell you, you know what, that's the worst feeling in the world, just because you're trying to go as fast as you can, keep the car on the racetrack, not getting anybody's way, but if you go too fast, the tire will delaminate and beat up your car. So, you know, that's a frustrating position as you see
Justin Marks
go by, but Billy made it around, and hopefully he'll be able to salvage some points.
And Auberlen really has, and no disrespect to any of the others, he's been the standout driver in the SCCA Speed World Challenge this year because he's doing both. He's doing the touring car and the GT, and he's had 2 wins in each category so far this year, and has really been one of, if not the star. Well, he'll be fired up to come back after this.
Yeah, and you know what, and he's producing, and you know what, I mean, you look at Randy Popes or Mike Galati or Boris Said, or I mean, when you look through this whole field, there's so many guys that are the same caliber as Bill Auberlen. But you know, again, he's got the team on the PTG guys. He's been with them for a long time. Everyone right now is pulling together there. Their bad luck is hitting them right now, and but he has shown himself to be extremely strong. And quite simply at Lime Rock, he did put on a clinic. He was visibly stronger than everybody else.
And with that rear tyre going down, it's appropriate that I just want to elaborate on a point earlier where we mentioned about Champion Racing's protest from Lime Rock about PTG using illegal size rear tyres. As we see the white flag, 1 to go for Mike Fitzgerald. SCCA has addressed that situation. They said that there were certain ambiguities in the rule book pertaining to tyre size, and they now are specifying what size you must use.
Yeah, and as from what I understand, they just put the smaller size tires on the car for the wet so the cars wouldn't hydroplane as much, and it worked for them. So, you know, why penalize a team for being smarter? If there's an opening in the rules, you got to take advantage of it.
So Mike Fitzgerald is on his way home. It's been a long, dry spell. No victories in 3 years, but he is set to stand on the top step of the podium. These two are still at it, Campbell and Galati. And although it's for a 12th position and not too many championship points, a battle's a battle. And they're racing hard to the flag.
And at the end of this, Mike's going to say to himself, I've never fought so hard for 12th position in my life.
Half a lap left to run. Not even that for Mike Fitzgerald and his 3R Racing Porsche. Hans Stuck is not giving up, but time will beat him there and about the same distance back. Look at that, he's pumped up. Hans Stuck is really pumped up. His best result of the 2003 Speed GT Championship into turn 10 for the final time. 3 different makes in the top 3 positions. That's what World Challenge Racing is all about. Porsche, BMW, and Audi will fill the top 3 positions. 3 years is a long time to wait, but Mike Fitzgerald is again victorious. Well done to the Porsche driver, Hans Stuck, the Austrian. He's all pumped up. And the local lad, Randy Post from Gainesville here in Georgia, picks up 3rd, yet another podium position to the championship points leader.
Awfully darn consistent by Randy in that. I tell you what, if he keeps that going, this championship is his. But, you know, great job by Fitzgerald today. Cool thing to see Stuck that pumped up after driving that strong a race. I mean, he did an awesome job today, and so to Hans and everyone there, you know what? Hans has a good result. Sometimes he yodels in victory lane, so I don't know. Maybe we'll hear some yodeling today.
Stay tuned. But there's your victor. Your winner is Mike Fitzgerald. And our 3rd different car to win this year. We've had Corvette victories, BMW M3 victories. Now a Porsche 911 will go to victory lane. And that will change things points-wise and make it more interesting as we head towards our next round. But we're not done here yet on Speed Channel. Come back after the break.
On Speed.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Welcome back to Road Atlanta as we take a look at the overall results. Again, congratulations to Mike Fitzgerald. We have to mention, though, our Sunoco Hard Charger. Congratulations to John Groom, going from 24th to 8th to grab some valuable championship points. But today, it was all about the Porsche for 3R Racing and Mike Fitzgerald. He is in victory lane without Brian Till.
Well, Michael Fitzgerald started the season off with a bang with a 2nd place finish at Sebring, but bang is a word you heard a lot after that until now.
Yeah, we got blistered with a little bad luck for 3 races and some just unfortunate luck, really. But the 3R Racing guys, it was great to get them a win. They deserve it. They're a great team. They are just a phenomenal team. The 3R Porsche, consistent, phenomenal, fast. It was great. Every aspect, the handling, the power, you know, I just can't, I have nothing to complain about. It was just a perfect race.
Well, as difficult as the conditions were this weekend, they changed a lot. You guys got caught out a little bit in qualifying, perhaps, with the wet?
Yeah, but that was my fault. I threw the car away in qualifying at Lime Rock right before the race, and I didn't want to do it again. And when the track started drying, it was almost dry, but it wasn't all the way dry, and there was a great opportunity for me to make a mistake, and I just didn't want to do it. And I knew this 3R Porsche was good enough to win the race from just about anywhere on the grid, so you know I was willing to take that chance.
Well, smart drivers win races, smart drivers win championships. Keep an eye on this guy, Lee.
And he has come barging into the top 5. The most significant mover, Mike Fitzgerald. That victory has sent him from 10th to 5th. Movement up top as well. McClure jumps back up to 2nd. Orbelin back down to 3rd. But let's hear from the man who's in 4th.
All right, Hans, 2 podiums in a row, but we're getting closer.
I mean, this is the kind of racing I like, you know, from start to finish, balls out, you know. door-to-door passing guys. Also be smart with your tires, you know. Do the right setup, thanks to my guys, Jamesy, Steve, and of the Tom Milner. We picked it just right. The last 5 laps, my car was good. Of course, the Porsche was too fast down the straight. Good, he won the race. Porsche win the race now. BMW finished second, Audi third. That's absolutely perfect. And I enjoyed the race so much, I can't tell you. It was just fantastic.
And as you can see, Hans talks as fast as he drives. He's a great guy, one of the sport's true characters, and wonderful to see him on the podium. Johnny, as we wrap this up and get prepared for Infineon Raceway, what are your thoughts coming out of your home racetrack?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, it was a great week, and tough luck for Billy Arberlin. This hurts his championship run, but I tell you what, nothing like seeing Hans Stuck at the end of the race, still loving what he does.
Arberlin will be back strong. Ced will be back strong at Infineon. They're going to mix it up there.
And don't forget Mike Alati. He's going to be back. Maybe his run of bad luck is over, as well as John Young in that Celine. It should be a great show.
Fairly eventful day here today at Road Atlanta. Certainly hope you enjoyed round 5 of the Speed GT Championship. On behalf of Brian Till and Johnny O'Connell, we look forward to your company from California.